Our next reader is Donna McNeil. I first met Donna when we both worked at Habitat for Humanity. But it wasn't until 4 or 5 years later that I learned that she was a poet. We started swapping poems over coffee after I retired, and she was on the verge of doing the same. Donna has a lot of irons in the fire. I've heard her sing. I know she's a person who feels deeply. Her bio reads as follows. Donna is fascinated with words and rhyme, has been fascinated with words and rhyme since childhood. As a lit major in college, she learned to appreciate well-crafted words across all genres. She has been writing poetry since the early 70s. Friends and colleagues with Ollie's Poetry on Wheels are an incredible stimulus and support, as she is to us. Donna McNeil.
Well, this is great. I am grateful that Barnes Noble allows this opportunity. I think it's wonderful. I think it's a good thing for them to have done, and I really appreciate Charles and Stephen's efforts to make it happen, and also the invitation that came unexpectedly in our group one day, and we were severely encouraged. Strenuously encouraged, right? Yeah, we were strenuously encouraged. So thanks to my grandmother for singing me songs and teaching me rhymes. As my bio says, I started my journey into poetry back in the early 70s. Some of the pieces I will share with you today date from those early days. Most are more contemporary. For this first piece, I want to invite you to take a window seat for a night crossing. Street lights slide by, in and out of dim blue light. Bright sign flashes, brazen symbol stretched out flat and white. Awake in the deepest part of night, people stretch, murmur, eyes averted, doing daytime things with nighttime faces, full of sleep and interrupted dreams. Back on board, brakes release with a hiss, wheels roll slow, then faster. Sounds of the road swell, fade into the surrounding darkness. Let's see, how many female members of the audience do we have? Before I forget, I just want to thank my friends who came to support me today. It's really good to see your friendly faces out there too. Anyway, so this piece, I'm just wondering if perhaps some of you can identify with this slightly melancholy musing of a woman at midlife. Destiny of Anatomy. Empty womb, hollow house, sanguinary nest, waits in fruitless preparation for unnumbered guests, subtle swimmers, so infrequent, so few. Supple walls, cradle where once upon a time sea sounds echoed and lapping waves gently, oh so gently, rocked new life. Abandoned nest, now timber sag, foundation crumbles. Soon time will raise these hallowed walls, render a miraculous design obsolete. that's what I thought then. Every now and then a relationship gets into a tangle. This poem is about that. It's called Fractures. Caught up in her penchant for control, entangled in his expectations of condemnation, hot words tear scabs from old wounds. Swiftly, conversation escalates to quarrel, then conflagration, till rigid with anger, faces freeze in harsh cartoons of past luminous selves. Minutes before was laughter, shared feelings, tender moments of simple communion, unfeigned, now forgotten. In the wake, fissures that left unhealed may rot, risking disintegration, dissolution, loss. With my work, you have to remember not to put your hands anywhere out of reach, okay? Because my pieces are short, and so if you're going to applaud, you got to be ready. So, and this is a little on the light side and a bit more contemporary. Do you remember the saying about being doomed to live in interesting times? Well, today that might be an understatement. Curtain rises, final act, or maybe I've lost track. Rome's burning, it's heating up, levees gush, bridges sag, rats scurry to hurry to grab the stash, secure their cash. Voices rise, fear crescendos, hope flies out the windows, drags along compassion, easier to shun the other, deaf to their cries, raised to empty skies. Nero fiddles in the wings, his strident, screeching strings signal the end as the curtain descends. I've gone through a couple of introductions to this piece, and I'm going to leave it with, I really don't know what to say about this scenario, but I think you'll probably come up with some thoughts of your own. Lost at sea. A new start, a last hope to escape death all around, lives blown apart beyond resurrection. There seems no other path, no way out, but to risk all, reaching for new life. The last leg of the journey to some kind of future depends on a rocking, creaking, crowded ship reeking of desperation. The yearnings of all aboard the engine that powers its launch into the waves. Out at sea, the vessel shimmies, sends waves of panic through the cruelly packed passengers. When it begins to capsize, screams erupt all over the ship. People slip, slide, leap into the water. Amid the shrieks of terror, a mother holds onto hope and her child, struggles to save them both until the last possible minute. And then it is. Sobs fill lungs with water. Her heart breaks well before it stops. Such tragedies are often front-page news. A constant litany of lives lost by knife, gun, bomb, flood, hurricane, drowning at sea. Hard not to turn away out of pain or powerlessness. But open eyes and hearts will see the nation's complicity in wars and terrors that topple governments, divide nations, tear families apart, destroy lives. Oh, good. Those who know me well know that I'm prone to this. But anyway, I'm going for a little lighter tone next. You will be happy to know. Actually, the next three. I just want to invite you to check out these guys coming to a neighborhood near you. See if you recognize the crew. Well, they're crows in 3 acts. 3 jokers strut the blacktop, loud, raucous, me firsty. Beaks grab, tear into some tasty morsels at the roadside cafe. From atop a power pole, the neighborhood newsboy blares out today's headlines, repeatedly pierces morning calm. Silhouetted against the azure sky, aerial artists in black satin, no net, turn and tumble, slide and dive, center ring at the circus. Well, I've lived in Oregon for over 20 years now, and I guess I know I've not seen every beautiful spot there is to see in the state. But I'd like to share one with you right now, up the gorge. Trees in silhouette stand on canyon rim, black against blue, fading glory dim compared to the exalted Columbia shimmering in reflected light. Along the walls of the great river, the golden glow of a setting sun, like an artist paintbrush, lightly washes random bits of foliage. Hurrying eastward, the train rumbles, rocks, rolls along, slowing not at all. Dazzling falls and forest canyons rush by in waning light. My eyes keenly scan the fleeting landscape to capture every color, shape, and shadow. It's a delight every now and then to recapture some of those simple pleasures that you remember from childhood. Maybe we don't do it often enough, but it is a joy. Child's play. Rivers of air flow over, under, around my body. Caress like a lullaby. I succumb, addicted to freedom's soaring arc up in the air, then down. At each arc's apogee, a weightless pause, subtle thrill anticipates launch into the sky, dispelled immediately in my backwards glide. Steady, cradling rhythm, out and back, up and down, cools, calms, soothes. Creaking rope, a slow ticking clock, measures movements rise, fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.